Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to remind people that on Wednesday, October 16th, we'll be at the Philosophical Research Society for a screening of the documentary Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street. That's the documentary about A Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
That gay one.
The gay one. We're going to be joined by Matt and Tim, or we'll be joining Matt and Tim from Happy Horror Time podcast to talk about this film.
Yes, we will.
And this series, the Queer Diaspora series, is hosted by filmmaker Gregorio Davila, so he'll be there as well. I think this will be fun. Nick is accustomed to doing Q&A type things and interviews in front of an audience. I'm not.
Yes, but I think this will be different though because it's not like it's more of a conversation.
Yeah. So I recommend people come see it, and so they can meet us and watch a fun documentary. Tickets are
$8,000.
600 gimlets.
It benefits gay blind children.
Oh, not blind gay children?
Sorry. That's it.
No, I don't know. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'll put a link to the Eventbrite site, whatever you call it. I don't know, to buy a ticket. But yeah, people, if they want to meet us, if they want to give us things, I accept gifts. I'm not a member of Congress.
Or see how we interact with others.
Or how good I smell, for sure.
I smell fine.
Fine? That's your...
Well,
that's how you're marketing your aroma?
Well,
I smell fine.
People, I mean, I smell like myself. You smell like, nice colonia.
That's right. Baccarat Rouge, most likely, since it's an evening event.
I'm just myself.
So yeah, when Nick got to meet Isabel for the first time, you interviewed her.
I did.
And you brought her favorite perfume.
Uh-huh.
And what did that lady do?
Oh, Le Bleu by Guerlain. She tore that open she had like little claw hands, and she goes, "Oh, my favorite." And she
doused herself.
Well, yeah, she proceeded to lift up both sides of her hair and spray it under there, and we were in a little room alone together. I felt high.
Because of the aroma?
Everything. Just
meeting her.
Yes.
And her aura was it what you had hoped?
Oh, if you're a homosexual fan of hers, she likes that. If you're a member of the French press, she's not friendly. But if you're speaking English and you're gay, I think she likes you.
I would imagine that she tolerates people who are fawning over her.
Well, I mean, she to a degree, when you start saying that, she shuts you down. Like, no, I'm not here to. I don't want to hear that. But
I get that enough. Thank you.
I know people, journalists in France, that have interviewed her, and they are told, if they can, to speak to her in another language because she's usually a little less. She's more approachable. So, but I think
Wait, what you mean? Speak to her in English?
In anything else
than French?
That she also. But yeah, because.
Like she's more feisty in French?
Yeah, well, I think the French press are very aggressive. And if you look back on old interviews of hers, especially from the 80s, the way the French press still talk to some celebrities is shocking to me. But, she would be confronted a lot about her weight and if she had an eating disorder. And there was always prying into her family life. And she's pretty private. Yeah. So I think that all of that has a lot to do with it. But if you're just there to talk about her movies.
Say the name of her favorite fragrance again.
Le Bleu, the Blue Hour, I believe.
Oh, well, I have a few. I like Baccarat Rouge 540.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like an evening fragrance for me. And then I like Le Labo Santal 33.
I do like that, actually. When I will wear that sometimes.
You'll spray mine on you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, every now and then.
I wasn't aware of that.
Well, I mean, it's rare. I mean, you can. It's like a sample. Like if I were to go into Where's that?
Dillard's.
Where's that horrible place that we go to with the bright lighting? Sephora, and
That horrible place with the bright lighting. You
I
mean Sephora?
I strongly dislike walking into Sephora.
But if those fragrances aren't in your budget, I also like Chanel Blue. I'll wear Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb.
Oh yeah, I put that on before too.
Yeah, I like those. Oh, Paco Rabanne Million. I really like that one. And then even like Swiss Army has a fragrance that I believe you can only find online. That's how I order it. That's a good like gym scent.
Oh, as a Ute, I liked Cool Water.
But lately, because I don't really leave the house, cool water. I don't really leave the house, but so now I just wear deodorant, and I like the Mando.
Okay.
That brand. It's like I feel like it's popular on social media because it doesn't have like aluminum and all the stuff.
Because you're a Mando.
And you rub it into your pits like it's a cream. They also sell the stick, but I like the cream because they say you can put it anywhere. But I like the Mount Fuji scent.
I don't really wear deodorant.
No, you don't.
Not to be. I'm not making any kind of statement. It's just more like I don't wear it.
Well, I only wear it because when I do leave the house, I feel like, you know, if people approach me and then they want a hug, and then I get, especially women, I get very insecure because, you know, if they're shorter than I am, and then their face is like closer to my underarms, I get embarrassed thinking that their impression of me would be that I smell. And then at the gym, those machines are so damn close together. Oh
yeah, I don't. Please be somewhat clean at the gym, my lord.
I was gonna mention I've griped about this before. So anyway, Queer Diaspora Scream Queen screening. Nick and I with the Happy Horror Time guys and Greg Davila will be there to talk about the film. We would love to meet people who like us. So please come. Yes. Please say hello. We have every intention of being friendly, so don't feel like you can't say hi. But anyway, I wanted to gripe about Gold's Gym in Hollywood. That's the gym I attend because it's the closest one to our home. It is basically free, and because of our insurance, and they have really convenient parking. They have a parking garage that's like secured and next to the building,
which matters quite a bit in LA.
Yes, absolutely. So it's very convenient. I can get there in like 10 minutes or less. But I've complained about this before, that they have like their cleaning routine is interesting because it's like they clean at the most inopportune times. Like rush hour, you have some guy in the locker room trying to mop and wipe down everything and like mopping around people's feet. It just doesn't make any sense. And then there's this one lady, and anyone who goes to this gym knows who I'm talking about. There's this lady that wears a vacuum pack. So it's like a backpack vacuum.
I think you talked about her before.
Yes, and she has this like 50-foot cord that she just wraps around everything. And I've taken pictures of this. I've emailed it to the gym, like the email address that contact us. I've also spoken to one of the people at the front desk trying to explain that this is such a hazard. You will see this cord wrapped around machines. It's a 2-story situation, like 2 levels. So there's a staircase, and she will have that cord at the top of the staircase. And like, I swear, I'm tempted to throw my ass off that thing just to get a check. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And then now they're remodeling. There are all these signs saying $1 million renovation. They're putting in all this stuff. And I was there yesterday, and they were like moving stuff, and they had pieces of the floor. I know Gold's Gym has legal counsel. And so if anyone hears this or could get it to their legal counsel, they know that this is ridiculous. The liability of always having wet floors during the busiest hours, always having cords like that people can trip over during the busiest hours. And all that lady does is vacuum. I've never seen anyone wipe down machinery with disinfectant. Like, what is she vacuuming? People's dander? Like, I just don't understand why there's a woman being paid full time to vacuum the gym.
You know, those little bugs that live off your dead skin cells? I'm sure there's a lot of those in there.
Well, I'd rather someone wipe off the fecal matter off of the treadmill, because I see all these nasty ass men. It's like they come to the gym to take a shit.
I'm sure.
And then they just come out the stall and walk right out. So now I have to wipe down all these machines before I use them, which I would anyway. But okay, so the saga continues. I don't really want to talk about Janet Jackson, but I keep getting messages about her. So the main developments since the last time we spoke about it are that the person who issued the apology, some person named Mo Elmasri,
Mm-hmm.
we find out Janet Jackson's camp is saying that he never worked for her
Mm-hmm.
because he
Yep.
said he was fired, but then it's like no, he didn't have a job to get fired from.
Oh, then we were fired from her camp too, right?
Yeah. I guess I worked for Janet too then.
I have been fired. Yes.
So of course, all the like Janet made the comment, and then Whoopi Goldberg came to her defense saying that Janet is not a political figure. She is a musician. She is busy doing touring.
Her brother died.
Her brother died. She's mourning. Like she's not the person to ask about political things. She doesn't even live in the United States anymore. I mean, I still feel like a damn near 60-year-old Black woman who spent 55 years living in the United States should still have some connection to the idea that a woman of color will most likely be our next president. So I'm not going to try to say that it's reasonable that she is so uninformed to say like I haven't watched the news in a few days. That being said, then also people are bringing up the fact that maybe she was being shady on purpose because during Michael Jackson's legal issues when Kamala Harris was I think assistant attorney general, just now I feel stupid, but anyway, in California she had some strong comments about Michael Jackson.
Oh, I bet that.
So
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if somebody was talking shit about my sister and then you ask me about that person, I'm gonna be shady too. And I probably will, at the risk of sounding ignorant, be shady. So if we're looking at it from that perspective, like she's just being a bitch because this lady talked dirty about her brother, who she believes is innocent,
Mm-hmm.
then you can go there too. But I think so there's that, and I'm not trying to pretend that like it's one way or the other. But so then the most recent development is that this guy Mo Elmasri issued an apology. So I'll read it. It's not very long.
Didn't you read this last time?
No.
Oh, this is a different. Wait.
No, his apology on
his
behalf
apology.
of his apology on behalf of Janet.
Okay.
No, this is his apology for all the hullabaloo. Dear Janet, this is him writing an open letter to her. First and foremost, I sincerely apologize if there has been any misunderstanding regarding my statements or my position in representing you. I hold your work and achievements in the highest regard and have nothing but respect and admiration for you. At the beginning of my career, I always dreamed of working with people I deeply respect and believe in. When I started my new venture, I had a genuine intention to be part of a team that supports global artists and celebrities, providing them with valuable consulting. Sometimes excessive enthusiasm can lead to misunderstandings, and perhaps that is what happened in my case. I never intended to cause any harm, offense, or to misuse your name and reputation in any way. On the contrary, I wanted to show my support and respect for you. I deeply apologize if things appeared otherwise. With the utmost respect and admiration, Mo. So the line that struck me, and I'm sure struck you too, is sometimes excessive enthusiasm can lead to misunderstandings.
Is that's now going to be a legal term you can be charged with?
So that's the new way of saying I lied because I was excited, or
I was
what?
excessively excited. You know what? I think we should defer to a line that Divine says in Pink Flamingos: "Is you've been convicted of assholism."
So not trying to deflect from whatever comments were made, but clearly this is an unfortunate
If I were
tangent
her,
to what she said.
if I were her, I'd be so annoyed. It's like, you didn't work for me. You never worked for me. You still aren't affiliated with me, and now I have an apology for an apology. Okay.
But Janet's resumed her tour. She did shows in Paris, and she's at the O2 Arena in London, and it seems like those performances were well attended. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but like a lot of artists who do and say crazy shit, it's like I appreciate their art. love Alec Baldwin, and
But
he has said and done things that are
but Janet doesn't really say crazy shit. I think that was just I think that was an unprecedented moment.
well. There's a reason Beyonce doesn't talk. It's
Well,
like her people know that it's just best if she just does what she's good at and collect her checks and be on about her business. And I think Janet perfected that for the longest time. So I just hate to see her. And like I said last week, we all say shit that's, you know, if you catch me in private, you're gonna hear some things that you'd be like clutching your pearls.
well, yeah, because even inevitably, hearing somebody speak is the more you get to know somebody, you hear from somebody, the more chances they have to
Right.
dismay or that. Like even reading some recent headlines from Kate Winslet's tour for Lee, it's like, ooh, girl, sometimes.
Oops.
Yeah.
And then there were comments about Shannon Sharp's recent thing. I tried to read about it. The horsehair comment. So apparently he got into like a Twitter thing with someone who was accusing him of like anti-black rhetoric. And then he went back and forth with this person. And I believe that the person's handle, their avatar was like a picture of
Pegasus.
No, I think it was like Megan the Stallion. I don't know. I think their avatar was like of Megan the Stallion, but of course it's not her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said something about like this long rant that ended with like, "and your horse hair."
Okay.
I mean, okay, my initial thought is like, for a straight man to make comments about like a straight man who's not involved in beauty to say things like that is just like you're trying to be offensive, which clearly he was because he was mad because they were attacking him about something.
Uh-huh.
I think it feels like it's kind of weird. Like if some lady approached, like if we were sitting in a theater and some lady was trying to talk crazy to me or something, yeah, I would read her for her hair, but it would be like a real read,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also because I'm qualified to do so. So I feel like that has a very different energy than this, damn near 60-year-old straight man
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't have anything to do with beauty telling some woman she has horse hair. But so that feels like a little, I don't know, that's a little punkish to me. But the bigger feeling I felt reading the comments was that the way men like to attack women, but then it's like you covet those things in women, like you want to call women whores and like gold diggers,
Exactly.
but then you trick on these whores and bitches that you're calling them, but then you're tricking on them, like you actually are, you're part of the problem, sir.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that the kind of women Shannon Sharp likes to hunch on do have long straight locks, and so it's like, well, these standards that you place on women to then turn around and like weaponize it to attack them feels very weird to me.
Yeah, but straight men aren't alone in doing that. Gay men, well, women do this too, but gay men do it a lot too. If you criticize somebody or clap back at somebody, they will come back at you thinking they're going to strike at your Achilles heel, and so
Right.
or something that they feel they know you're vulnerable about. It's like, no, it does no. That's not how that works. But for they know that usually works. That usually shuts people up. So that's why I believe somebody like him would go there.
But he received a lot of criticism, so he issued an apology via Twitter X saying, "I will no longer respond to any negativity. It's not that serious." Well,
You know what?
there are typos here. Sorry. "I will no longer respond to any negativity. It's not that serious for me. I've got kids, and I would." Wow, there are a lot of typos. "I've got kids, and I would be upset with them if they responded in this matter. This is beneath me. Y'all pray for me, though."
Well, what did Beyonce say in the Queen's remix? Like, I resolved to keep my mouth to myself and love thy haters. Like, just
his comment to this person was, "Why are you on my page? Don't you have another horse to rob for his hair? Stop trying to kill my vibe." The other thing too is like, I'm 45 years old and he's older than I am. And, I feel like his reads read like an older like the kind of shit that I would hear when I was like in high school,
Mhm.
like, so it just feels like someone of a particular age trying to come for somebody and saying some shit that's like, well, that's kind of weak. It's like calling someone fat.
Yeah.
Like they know they're fat. Like we know that that's a wig and that's how she feels good. And you would be hollering at her otherwise if she didn't say something you didn't like. So you just seem like a hypocrite. And
well, you seem a little too sensitive to, again, yeah, why are you responding to someone at this level? Like, just ignore that shit. But whatever.
Okay, moving on to the restaurant section. We finally tried a restaurant at the Westfield Century City Mall called, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Maiju Dong Po.
That sounds fine.
Damn. It's on the second level.
It used to be something called the Mozzarella Bar, I think.
Yeah, we've seen that location. It was something before, like you said, but we've been going to that mall forever. Well, it was renovated, 4 or 5 years? Like before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it used to look different. But we finally tried it last week because we were in a hurry before a screening of... What did we watch that day? It was something
Was
long.
it Saturday night?
Oh, it was Saturday night. Yeah, we were like, well, we don't, because we usually eat at Takaya from America's Next Top Model. Shout out, girl. No, we usually eat at Takaya, but then I think we were both getting a little tired of it. So we decided to try Maiju Dong Po.
Mm-hmm.
It's described as sophisticated Szechuan fare and extraordinary service in an impressive setting. Extraordinary service. I thought they were friendly.
The service was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The lady who first assisted us was a little stiff, but then did you think that man was gay?
I'm not sure.
He seemed very friendly.
Yeah, he did.
So I did appreciate that. But do you recall what we ordered?
Yes. Well, because I have to keep in mind that you don't want to get too experimental at some of these places.
Oh,
so
here we go.
So we tried.
You make me sound like a xenophobe and
Well, you're not a xenophobe, but you won't do a lot of things or try a lot of things.
Because I don't want to end up with raw duck.
Yes, sometimes there are errors made, but
so that's why I'm a little particular.
But you have to get outside of your comfort zone, and sometimes that happens.
Because you tried to order a plate of pork belly, and I saw what that pork belly looked like. We were not doing that.
No, I didn't try to get the pork belly.
No, but you pointed it out, didn't you?
No, I was pointing to the thing under that.
Oh, I don't want to lie on you. My apologies.
Yes. No,
anyway,
yeah, pork belly is iffy with me.
The two things you did choose were delicious, and what were they?
There was orange chicken, and then I forget the name of the other thing. Which was the preferred thing. It was some kind of sliced beef.
It's like spicy beef something or other.
But I would definitely get that again. That
shit was so good. It was like, so I didn't pay attention to the prices.
It was not in there. That bowl of meat and broth that we got was probably like $32 or something.
It was like $32, but I didn't know what it cost before you ordered it. So, but I was expecting a small plate. The orange chicken, there was quite a bit of it.
There was a bit. I mean, that was that's sometimes the danger of ordering something so basic. It was just fine, but.
I thought the orange chicken was better than okay.
It was, but I mean, if I would like to go back there and
try other things.
Yeah.
But that I don't even know what it. I really want to find it because, like, what it was called. I swear it was called like spicy beef something. But
I know
it was this huge. Oh, was it called Serrano pepper beef?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
but it came in this huge bowl, like the kind your mom puts out for Thanksgiving for everyone to get from.
A tureen.
It was huge. And it was this like thinly sliced beef that was cooked well with what was like greens?
Mm-hmm.
What
like
were
bok
those?
choy.
Bok choy.
Mm-hmm.
Some vegetables, and then it was spicy.
It was right. Yeah, but it
was the perfect amount of heat.
I thought it was great, but when we ordered it, she was like, "This is kind of hot." I'm like, "Bring it, give it to me."
It was. It did have heat, but it was very manageable, and I thought extremely flavorful. And there was so much of it that we had. We took quite a bit home,
mm-hmm.
but I was very happy. And then we ordered a bottle of this wine. I forget what it was called. It had a funky name to it, but it was good.
Whenever you order, it's rare that we order a whole bottle of wine, but I'm always nervous. Like I'm going to be hammered. And then each time I'm not.
Yeah, it almost like it felt like I was drinking a soft red wine, but usually soft red wines are a little sweet and then sometimes have slight carbonation. This one tasted like it was just like regular, like a regular like Merlot,
Mhm.
but then it was light. I don't know. I was very happy. And then the restaurant's cute.
Yeah, and the food was good. It was didn't take that long. Granted, it wasn't very busy.
Yeah, there were only like 4 people.
Yeah.
But they have a beautiful outside seating area. We sat inside. The music was like 90s, early
R&B.
2000s R&B. So I was very like pleased, confused, but pleased.
Yeah.
So yes, Maiju Express, you can send gift cards via email,
Oh, okay.
or our PO box is listed in the
Well,
description.
it's rare that you find something you like so much that you'll ask. For
Didn't
money.
you like it?
Yeah, it's good.
I'm just trying to help us out.
I liked it.
Oh, speaking of me asking for things, yesterday during our live for the movie Autumn in New York, I mentioned that it would be really great if we could make a compilation of Nick's intros because people love them for our review videos. And a listener named Jonas made 2 of them, actually. The one I didn't post because it had
It was our early work.
well, and it was like it contained music that was he did explain like I forget the term, like where it's like you don't have to pay for the rights to use it.
Mhm.
But then I got a little nervous, so I used the other one, which I really enjoyed as well, which is the one I posted. But so yeah, I'm just putting things out there. If people want to make little like super cuts of things they like from the things Nick says or myself, I'll post them if I like them. And then if people want, yeah, it's not a guaranteed publish. Or I also said if people want to, like if there are graphic designers who want to send us designs, if I like them, I'll put them in the merch shop to make t-shirts and stuff.
I mean, I did request that you have somebody.
I am working on, I actually have the contract in front of me that I signed. So
okay.
Yeah. So I need to email this person.
I had an idea for a new piece of merch.
Oh, the Wall Street slut?
That too, but no.
What's the other one?
I'm assuming the one you're signing the contract about.
Oh yeah. So we have one already.
I don't want to say because I can't wait to have this on my body.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So yeah, people, we like stuff.
I hope it'll be a big seller.
Okay, then Nick was inspired to make California Pizza Kitchen has Kung Pao spaghetti,
which so I've never had that at that restaurant. I don't like California.
I don't like CPK at all. Mm-hmm. And for people who aren't familiar, California Pizza Kitchen has, I think, some of the worst pizza.
We went there sometime in the past year, kind of as a joke, because it was near a screen. There's one near a screening room, and yeah, I was.
Well, we have a history because when the very first time we came to LA, didn't we go to the Beverly Center and eat at CPK?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And it was disappointing.
What was that other place we used to like to go to for happy hour at Beverly Center?
Oh, the PF Chang's.
No, it was a nicer, kind of fancier restaurant that closed. It was right on the corner.
Are you sure it wasn't PF Chang's?
Yeah.
Because there was the PF Chang's there at the Beverly Center.
There was that too, but it was something else.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, but I forgot. Mm-hmm. So then, and then I have a lot of experience with CPK because I used to work at an office that was next to a CPK, and that was like the only sit-down restaurant nearby. Mm-hmm. So we would have all of our like lunch meetings at CPK. So I am very familiar with the menu, and I don't think I've ever been impressed with their food.
Yeah.
And then, like you mentioned, we ate there most recently, like a year ago.
About that, yeah.
And what did we get?
I got a pizza that was mid.
So I was very surprised when you said to me that you were going to try to make CPK's Kung Pao spaghetti.
Well, your mother gave us. We have pasta oozing out of the cupboard.
My mom likes to give us pasta and tomato sauce,
and I don't like throwing food away. So, yes, I've been making some pasta.
But I thought that your concoction, it actually, you know what it actually tasted like to me? It kind of tasted like if you mix, it was almost like a fusion of like Chinese and Thai food to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you usually don't like fusion, so I kind of sent that as a joke. But I'm like, I have nothing to compare it to because I don't know what the shit tastes like at the restaurant.
well,
But
you know what I think made it really good is that it's not saucy. Like
yeah,
it like it wasn't wet. Because what I was thinking when you first said it was like, oh God, it's gonna be like spaghetti noodles with a bunch of red sauce that has like peanuts in it. Ugh.
mhm.
But no, you made this really nice like glaze
Yeah,
with the chili peppers and the peanuts in, and I think it worked really well because it really did just taste like kung pao chicken with noodles
yeah.
instead of rice.
You know what I like more that I made recently? When the day you came back from Toronto, I made my own homemade pasta sauce from scratch for the very first time, and I
It's
actually
funny how different fresh, like, because you had to use like fresh tomatoes
well,
and
I mean, this is why people don't do it because I had to buy $30 worth of tomatoes.
right,
You know,
like damn,
like 8 pounds of tomatoes.
we could have just gone to get
I,
pasta
I could have bought
at a restaurant.
because a decent jar of tomato or pasta sauce is like what between $10 and $12. So I could have bought
Yeah, because I don't ever buy the
3 jars of
ragu.
that. But I do like to make shit. But that was very good to me. And then I also made these homemade cinnamon rolls.
Oh my god,
Oh,
they
that
were, they really did taste like. I mean, they were better to me than Cinnabon.
I've never made them before because anytime you have to make your own bread and yeast and the rising and the like it was like a 17-step process, but that shit was
Well, here's
so
what set it
good.
off because some even like when we go get like nicer cinnamon rolls, like not just the cheap shit at the grocery store, but like at a bakery,
Hmm.
I feel like the dough and the bread just taste dry.
Yeah, especially on the outside. Hmm.
But yours was like it was soft and chewy, and then the other key is I feel like when you buy lesser cinnamon rolls, they really skimp on the like the cinnamon paste that goes in between,
Hmm. Yeah.
and you like yours was really like thick and like you were heavy handed with it, and then there was like real cream cheese frosting,
Hmm.
but you had put a layer of like a really thick layer of that cinnamon
It's
paste on the bottom of the pan, which then made it almost like it tasted like like fudge, kind of like cinnamon fudge,
like caramel fudge kind
caramel
of. Yeah, because
fudge,
there's a lot of brown sugar in there. Yeah.
but it wasn't hard. It was like gooey.
Hmm. Yeah,
That was dangerous.
it was
You can't
dangerous.
make that again unless we're gonna have people over because
Oh, and of
because we
course,
finished that pan in like 2.5 days.
yeah, but that shit was good.
Lastly, when we went to go see Megalopolis, um,
Yeah.
we stopped at Trader Joe's because there's a Trader Joe's in the same plaza.
Oh my
And
god.
I'm like, well, let's get like some alcohol because I had brought my bag.
And I needed something to get through that movie a
And
second
then,
time.
yeah, so for some reason, we chose to get something called Witch's Brew.
Well, it's the season.
That shit is described as like a red wine with spices. How would
Ugh,
you describe that shit?
punishment. I
It
describe
was
that as
disgusting.
punishment. Because we had to like take that from the head, like we were just taking balls.
Yeah, it was a screw top, and then we were just drinking it straight from the bottle.
And it felt like we were. There was something to get through, much like the film.
It kind
So
of reminded me of like maybe if you took is it called Manischewitz?
yeah, that sugary Jewish.
And then you maybe put like pumpkin pie spice in it.
Hmm.
It was this, or like, and then mix Robitussin in there.
It was not.
Yeah. And then we drank that entire bottle. Did you feel a single buzz?
No,
I don't even think there was alcohol in it. So then I felt so stupid. Like, did we just drink a nasty bottle of sugar water?
it says that it's red wine.
But I mean, I didn't feel anything, and we finished that bottle pretty fast.
We did. The only compensation was they have those ube cookies I like at Trader Joe's.
You do like those ube cookies.
Yeah.
Okay, there were a couple of questions. People seem to really respond to your Zardoz shirt, and they
Okay.
want to know what the full quote was.
The penis is evil. It spills seeds or something like that, and the gun is good. It cleanses.
Yeah.
I almost wore that out. I went out Friday night and I changed to a different shirt because I was like, oh, I don't. I feel like I'm nervous about people misinterpreting what I'm representing, but
with the messaging with the
with
gun.
about the gun, it's like it's from the stupid dystopic film. But
Sure.
I do love Zardoz. I will wear that shirt in public, but I was going to a gay bar, so I just didn't. I wasn't in the mood to deal with anybody's negative energy. But yes, I found that on Redbubble, and I love Zardoz.
And then there were a few questions about our rating system.
What
So,
about it?
well, if we could explain ourselves, which we've done before, but so mainly like what could qualify as a 5, and how come sometimes we don't sound that enthusiastic about a film and we'll give it a 3, and then sometimes we say we love a movie like The Substance and give it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'll speak for myself, I guess, and then you can reiterate. But a 5 is like a masterpiece, like nothing like it. There no bones to pick. And then also, sometimes it's a technical 5. I've given movies technical 5s where like I can't say anything about it. But is this a movie that lives rent free in my mind? No.
It's a TKO.
And then there are movies that are like an emotional 5, where it's just like, I love this movie so much. And yes, it's crazy and ridiculous. And I know people hate it, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes when I give movies a 3 that I'm not enthusiastic about, it's because I'm trying to be fair. Like, just because I didn't connect with it doesn't mean that it's poorly done or that other people won't like it.
Yeah, to me, a 3 is like there's enough about it that's probably even watchable again to me, and also something proficient, or there's something that is being said in the sub. Like there's some kind of care was taken that is successful.
Also, I feel like you can't just throw around 5s. It's like how everyone says, like, I love you. I love that. That's epic. That's legendary. That's my best friend. It's like, you will never hear me talk like that.
Well, yeah,
because everything can't be the best.
We lose the meaning of words. And I've harped on this before. You can't say I try not to. You can't say you love everything, and not everything can be gourmet. Not just because you did a lip sync on TV does not mean you're iconic. Like, that is not what that word means.
So that's why I'm economical with the scoring.
Yes, as we should be with our words.
And then I'm not inflating anything, but it's like, yeah, maybe I didn't connect with the story, but I think it's well done filmmaking, and maybe these characters would resonate with some people. So yeah, I gave it a 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's, but also it's just like LeVar Burton on Reading Rainbow said, like, don't take my word for it. Like, why are you watching 6 YouTube reviews about a movie you haven't seen yet and questioning me? Go see the shit.
Right.
Like,
and we also
go. I mean, at this point, you should just go see the movie.
We also don't give zeros.
Oh, and that's a good point. Yeah. So the lowest score is 0.5. And that is just like, I mean, obviously we think it's like terrible filmmaking, horrible storytelling, terrible acting.
But just like a 5-star, I think, should be reserved for something that really justifies it. Because otherwise it's a 1.
Well, like the kids say, like, stand on business. Like, if I'm going to call a movie a 5, it's like, I will defend this movie as like something that I think is perfect to me.
Right.
I'm not going to give a movie a 5 that I'm not passionate about, or that I can't say has no flaws. So it's also, again, it always comes back to my obsession of true crime shit. It's like people defending loved ones and friends blindly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, this is the hill you want to die on? Defending your brother-in-law, who we find out 16 minutes later brutally murdered his wife and kids? Like, I'm not going out like that. So that's why there aren't that many movies that get a 5. I did think The Substance was excellent.
I agree.
Giving a movie a 4 out of 5 to me is like, it's excellent.
A 4, I think, is a 4 for me. I mean, you're good.
But it leaves, but then I think giving a movie a 4 leaves room for, like, were there things that I thought could be a little better? Sure. But that's not what I chose to focus on. So to me, it's like our review of The Substance is very fair, because we didn't really gripe about anything. We just went on about how subversive it was, how much we enjoyed the performances. The ending does feel a little chaotic. It did feel a little long. You didn't agree, but
well, it'll definitely be in my top 10 of the year.
But yeah,
I'm
so
pretty sure.
I think it's just like the essence of to me, criticism should be a place for people to go to get a sense of something and what and sway their interest. Like if you're on the fence about seeing something, maybe hearing a few good words about it might convince you or otherwise. And then, if you really love a film and someone doesn't give it perfect score, I mean, does it matter? Does it matter? And also from my perspective, we're just talking. It's just entertainment to me.
Also, especially, I don't know if it's just getting older too. It's like, I really like flexibility. I don't know, like everything that's so definite and set in stone. I really do kind of shy away from that. So yes, to give a 5 means like I'm so definite that I'll die on this hill. Is what I'm saying. So, and with that, it should actually really mean something,
Moving on to films released we didn't cover, Bagman.
Yeah, they didn't screen this for press, at least not in my little inbox. But Colm McCarthy, who did The Girl with All the Gifts, which, to be fair, is kind of a crap movie, but has a young black girl as the lead, and also Glenn Close in The Eves. I know Sam Claflin stars in it, and I think it's PG-13, and there you go.
The Wild Robot.
I did want to see this. We ended up the press screening for this ended up being on a night that something we wanted to see more happened, so that's why we didn't. But I know Lupita and Pedro Pascal do voices. It's directed by Chris Sanders, who did Lilo and Stitch, which I'm familiar with but have not seen, and I should, because I think the little creature is very cute. But this is about a robot that I think develops a friendship with a young goose. A gosling, if you will.
Amber Alert.
I'm surprised that you didn't make a point to have us do this.
That sounds familiar.
So it's directed by somebody named Carrie Bellessa, and she's remaking her own indie film that from like several years prior, but this new version stars Hayden Panettiere.
Oh yes, we did see. Yes, I was interested, and I think I just forgot.
Yeah,
it's shocking.
It looks kind of like B-grade fun.
Like it could be on the level of like The Call or Kidnap.
I never really was thinking about Hayden at all until that last Scream movie where
she was the best part of the.
She was the best damn part of that. I was like, let me see more of this little short thing.
Devara Part 1.
Fans of RRR can rejoice because there's a new Indian epic that seems to be getting a lot of attention. I know it just played in LA at Beyond Fest as well, but it got a theatrical release. Koratala Siva, and as the Part 1 indicates, I think there's more of this saga to come.
Sleep.
This is one that, out of all the things we missed this week, this is what I wanted to see the most. Especially after I think it's Magnet releasing blasted all these emails about how Bong Joon-ho loved it, but it's a thriller about a narcoleptic husband. It's directed by Jason Yu, and I sadly I think it is the last time we're going to be able to see Lee Sun-kyun, who killed himself.
We know someone who's narcoleptic.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I've forgotten.
And he could sleep anywhere at any time, including sometimes driving.
Do I know this person?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll have to read that.
It's very obvious who it is. I think that's why your brain's not connecting.
Because I don't want to be in the car then with them. So I need to know that. Anyway.
Lastly, The Universal Theory.
Oh, this I highly recommend. This was at Venice in competition in 2023. So well over a year ago now. It's directed by Tim Kroger. It reminds me of old German films, like sci-fi films from there's a film called Gold or early Fritz Lang about this mysterious group in the Alps where weird disappearances are happening. Oddly, I also think it would make a pretty damn good double feature with Cuckoo. But yes, if any of those things sound mildly interesting, and it's shot in this beautiful black and white. When I saw it, I swear it was called The Theory of Everything, which I know is also the same name of the biopic about What's His Nuts. But so I think that's probably why they changed the title for the theatrical release in the US. But I liked it a lot.
Projects of interest. Someone wants to remake The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yeah, so interest is a euphemism here. Why are we remaking this? And with Micah Monroe in the Rebecca De Mornay role.
Listen, I enjoy the
1992.
1992 film, and I don't know, like, yeah, I mean, this is one where I would think like it's perfect. But
Rebecca De Mornay.
that being said, would I watch a remake? Yeah.
Of course I will, but it's like this is and you got to remember like Julianne Moore was in this. It was the Curtis Hanson film.
Yeah.
This is before Weinstein screwed over Annabella Sciorra. Like it's I don't know. To me, like these these white suburban families that were all had their lives destroyed in these erotic thrillers in the early '90s are a lot of fun. But
God.
I
Wait,
don't.
who's redoing it?
I don't remember the name of the director. I just know Micah has been cast.
Oh, so it's someone you don't know very well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's well, this could work if they made it more like disturbing and violent.
They have to update it somehow.
They would have to maybe take it to the edge. Because I remember watching this movie in high school, I think like with my mom, and then she said we couldn't finish it, so I didn't finish it. So I don't think I watched it in its entirety until I watched it with you.
We were watching some documentary about Def Comedy Jam, and some comedian from that period when this came out was going on and on about the crazy white people in the Rocks the Cradle. But yeah, Micah Monroe, I'm still not quite sold on her. Yeah, I mean, we just saw her in Long Legs, which I think her characterization made no GD sense in that movie. But anyway, it's coming, y'all.
Unfortunately, there's an entry in the obituary section.
A big entry.
Dame Margaret Natalie Smith, also known as Maggie Smith, died at the age of 89. Of course, I recognize her, and very fondly I'm saying this. I most recognize her from and people like what we mentioned, the web series Got to Be Real.
Oh,
because her character, I've only ever watched the first Harry Potter, and is she in the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
McGonagall.
In the web series Got to Be Real, it's her as that character from Harry Potter, like sort of controlling the houses, and she's in, I think, not all the episodes, but it's always her giving side eye or saying something shady. So I think I have a fondness for that version of Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith gave good bitch, let me tell you.
And I mean, I don't know anything about this lady, but just
really,
well, just like personally, or her beliefs and her causes, charity work. I don't know anything about her, but from what I do know, like in film, she seemed like she's probably like a nice lady.
Yes, I mean,
because I didn't watch Downton Abbey.
I have not seen Downton Abbey, and I've only seen the first 2 Harry Potter films because I'm waiting for you to catch up on those. But it's lovely that those 2 things were so huge and really sustained her iconicity, because Maggie Smith is an icon. But for anybody that hasn't had the chance to dig into her filmography, boy, do you have treats galore ahead of you. Oh my God. Like her first Oscar win for The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. She is so, which is based on a fantastic novel by Muriel Spark, by the way. Oh my God. And she was often in supporting roles. She won 2 Oscars, and a BAFTA, that we'll be talking about that soon in a minute. But I don't know. She's just a lot of fun, just in anything she did, even those terrible Best Exotic Marigold Hotel films. But
this week's secret film was your choice.
Yes.
And you chose the 1987 British drama film, The Lonely Passion of Judith Hearne, which I kept calling The Disappearance of Lorna Doone. But I really like the title, The Lonely Passion of Judith Hearne. You're currently reading the book.
Yes, actually, because Maggie Smith died, so it completely changed what I was picking for my secret film to talk about this week. And so I hurried up and finished reading Oh Pioneers by Willa Cather, because that's what I was reading.
Are you blaming her for the inconvenience?
I am, a little bit. Maggie, damn it. But I've had this book by Brian Moore, which was published in 1955. I've had this sitting in a stack of things to read for probably 3 years now. So I was like, now's the time to do it. So I got about 50 pages into it before we watched it yesterday.
Let me read the premise. A middle-aged spinster falls in love with a fellow resident of her boarding house who mistakenly believes she has the money to help him start a new business. So I didn't know anything about the disappearance of Lorna Doone. I didn't know anything about this movie. And I read the premise, and then I saw that it was Maggie Smith and Bob Hoskins,
Yes.
who, of course, I know from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a comedy. And then when it starts, for the first like 10 minutes, it feels like it's going to be a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not ridiculous, but it looks like it would be a comedy. This movie, I was so sad at the end.
Yeah.
It's really, there are like unnerving moments, like disturbing moments. And Maggie Smith gave a hell of a performance in this movie, and it really made me feel really sad for her character.
Yeah.
So Maggie Smith
is Judith Hearne.
Is Lorna Doone, and she, like it says, is a spinster, and we meet her moving into a boarding house.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly things aren't going the best for her, but we don't know why yet. We do see early on that like she teaches music, like private lessons, and she's losing students. And at one point we actually see a parent fire her because of like
she's late.
Well, she's late, but then it's also sort of made clear that there's been some sort of scandal, or like there are questions about Maggie Smith's character that lead this parent to want to fire her. So, of course, as the audience, I'm like, well, what the hell does she do? But she moves into this boarding house, and the lady who runs the boarding house, what's her name?
Mrs. Rice, played by Marie Keene.
So the boarding house is run by Marie Keene,
who played Barry Lyndon's mother.
And Mary Keene's widower brother is Bob Hoskins,
who's American.
And he's American, fresh from New York, in Dublin. That's where they are, Dublin.
Yes.
And he's living in the boarding house.
That's correct. For free, presumably.
For free. Okay, so Maggie Smith is like this really conservative lady, not like a stick in the mud, but like she's
devout,
and she's very religious, but she's very sweet. And when in the boarding house, I mean, it's like a bed and breakfast, so all the meals are done in the dining room and everyone eats together. So the first time Maggie Smith sees Bob Hoskins, you would have thought, I don't. Whenever I have to name a handsome man, I can't think of one. You would have thought I sat down for dinner and Maggie Smith. No, I'm just kidding. Why can't I think of a handsome actor right now?
Idris Elba, Brad Pitt.
Yes, insert any of those gentlemen. You would have thought they were sitting at dinner because Maggie Smith is looking at Bob Hoskins like he's a whole snack.
Yes, she is.
Hanging on every word. And he's just like this he's not super obnoxious, but he's clearly...
He's a player.
He's like...
He's a hustler.
He's full of hot air because it's like, fool, you living in your sister's boarding house rent free, talking about you're in the hotel business.
What's heavily underlined in the book is her interiority, in that men don't look back at her, and she's really excited that he is looking back, like he's giving her attention.
Maggie Smith is perfect casting because she, she's not... sexy wouldn't be a word I would use to describe her.
No, but she had especially in the 60s and 70s, she was beautiful. But
which is why the fact that RuPaul told Laganja Estranja that she looked like Maggie Smith from the movie
The Prime of Miss Jean. She looks like a young Miss Jean Brody.
is not exactly a compliment.
Which I can't wait. Side note, I didn't pick either of her Oscar-winning roles because I feel like everyone else is going to be talking about those.
And I'm different.
Well, this is something I've always wanted to see and is also notable to her career, but I can't wait for you to also catch up with Miss Jean Brody, though. It is fun.
Well, good luck. Anyway, Bob Hoskins starts feeling out Maggie Smith, and he is under the impression she has money, and he's an opportunist. Like he always has some business idea, some scheme, and he needs people to give him money.
Albeit not a bright one.
No. So he latches on to Maggie Smith because she's clearly smart, very put together.
He
She always looks nice.
she's educated, he thinks, because she knows all about New York
Right.
and the bridges there.
And at a point, because now that she is all, hot and bothered over this man looking at her, she starts wearing her jewelry. So now she's wearing all these rings, looking like Don King.
To breakfast.
Like to breakfast. So he thinks she has money. He takes her out. And then at one point, he takes her to a fancy dinner. And we learn two things from this dinner. Maggie Smith's character has an aversion to alcohol, which we learn why in a minute. And that Bob Hoskins thinks she has money, and he tries to tell her about this business idea. And he's pretty good at sort of twisting her words, because he's like, well, do you think it's a good idea? Yeah. Would you invest in it? Well,
would you tell a friend to invest in it?
Would you tell a friend? Well, what if I told you I would match the capital investment? Then would you? She's like, yeah, I would think it's a great idea. He's like, great. Well, I'll drop the paperwork when we get back. Like,
she's just, it's just like she's not getting it. Notably, they had just gone to a movie. They saw Cecil B. DeMille's Samson and Delilah, which is also about two people robbing each other of their powers.
But then things start to go downhill, because she and Bob get back from dinner. And
then his meddling sister,
the lady who runs the boarding house, stops them. And she basically shoos off Bob Hoskins to try to... I mean, she was being half shady, half helpful, but she corners Maggie Smith like, my brother ain't shit. You're so stupid. Like, you really think this man likes you? And like, he thinks you're going to do something for him. So, of course, Maggie Smith gets really upset. And then we see her...
Well, this is when we first see her. She notably has a picture of her framed aunt, played by Oscar winner Wendy Hiller, who's only really in the beginning of the film, and a picture of Jesus, the Sacred Heart, and she likes to turn those around.
We know that something bad is about to happen, because she takes that portrait of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and she turns it around so he can't see her. She goes into her effects, grabs a brown bag, and we all know what that means.
Brown liquor.
And this bitch starts taking sherry to the head. And that's when we realize, like, holy shit, she is a grade A drunk.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the scandal. That's why she's losing jobs. That's why she has to move out of her home into a boarding house. Then we get backstory. So she was raised by her rich aunt, played by Wendy Hiller, because Maggie Smith's mom died, Wendy Hiller's sister. So she raised her. But then as Wendy Hiller advanced in age, she became like senile. And
she had a stroke.
And was very difficult to deal with. So basically, Maggie Smith committed her life to like
nursing her. Yeah.
So that's partially why she comes across as a spinster, because she just devoted her life to her aunt, who wasn't very kind to her at the end of her life.
Right.
And Maggie Smith doesn't have money. She had a little nest egg that she kind of spent because she couldn't work because she was a drunk. So all she really has, as we're told, is a small annuity. So then the second half of the film is us seeing her decline into full Mickey Rourke in Barfly.
Oh, yeah. There's a slipping down happening.
To the point where, well, things get real bad, because she confronts Bob Hoskins like, oh, well, you want to get married. And he shuts her down so tough, like laughs at her face, like, marry you. That sends her over the edge. She ends up having to move out of the boarding house because she's so embarrassed,
into a hotel,
and then runs out of money. But then she like hits rock bottom and has to be like institutionalized in this nunnery, I guess.
Well, after she makes a scene at the church.
We need to talk about that. So the final act of the film is Maggie Smith convalescing, I guess. Well, no, like what's the word when you go to rehab? Like
she's drying out.
Drying out. That's what I was trying to say. And then there's a really lovely nun, a young lady who's helping her, which kind of made me teary eyed. Like, and I feel so bad for Maggie Smith. And she has a friend who is committed to helping her,
even though their relationship is also interesting.
It's strained. But at the end, we see that Maggie Smith has, sobered up and is ready to be discharged from the nunnery. Bob Hoskins shows up, and at first, and we'll explain in a minute why we have a negative impression of his character. But at first, you think, oh, he's come back to because he cares and he wants to make sure she's okay. And she also thinks that. He brings her a corsage, and so when they get outside of the institution,
they go on a walk.
They go on a walk, and he's like, "Yeah, so you ready to invest in my restaurant?" And she's like, "Fool, I don't have any money. Okay, like I spent all of my savings. Literally, I have zero, and my annuity wouldn't even pay
to open the doors.
To open the doors of your little funky restaurant." And that's when he realizes like he's wasting his time, and that she wasted her time.
And then she's like, "So you
and her feelings."
Well, and just prior to her confirming that for him, he basically asked her to be his business partner and marry her.
And of course, after she reveals that she has nothing, Whitney Houston, he just leaves, and then we see her leave, and hopefully, find brighter, greener pastures.
Well, he leaves. He writes his contact information down on a yellow piece of paper.
Doesn't she throw it away?
She does throw it away.
Yeah, good for her.
That like kind of the final moment of the film is she's being driven away from this home for women. And
yeah. I was shocked. I was not expecting this movie to be as dark as it is, which we haven't even gotten to the darkest parts, but
it's directed by Jack Clayton, who is an interesting director. He also did a fantastic, and I think maybe I'll have you watch this season. Fantastic adaptation of Henry James' The Turn of the Screw, starring Deborah Carr, called The Innocents, which I love, and I haven't watched in years. But yeah.
So let's talk about Bob's character and how he's a creep. First of all, living in the boarding house with
these people.
What the hell's her name? Mary Keene is her son.
Oh yeah, Ian McNeice.
Bernard, played by Ian McNeice. So Ian McNeice is Mary Keene's son. So he's also Bob Hoskins' nephew, and he's gross. We first meet him all big and bloated and shirtless on the couch with this awful blonde hair, box blonde hair. But so they're already like an unappealing trio. And then we see Bob like spanking some whore.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what the hell's going on? But my first note is dinner time at the boarding house looks miserable. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Having to have it kind of feels like that feeling on the cruise ship when if you try to eat in the dining room, they want you to share a table.
And you're like, nope, I want to
be because
alone.
I'm always by myself, it's like,
they shame you. Yeah.
They shame you. Like,
I don't want to talk to these people. That's why I bring a book everywhere with me. I'm here to do this.
Look at me. I don't need a friend. Okay.
Like, I know all the people I need to know. No,
I just need some chicken piccata and those subpar desserts.
And that's not to say we have the cruise I went on with you, we did at least once say like, sure, let's sit with a couple, and that ended up being a nightmare.
You know what the problem is? I'm tired of being interesting. Like, I can't be the only one.
Exactly.
For all you people out there who want to like occupy my time, like, I want people to also be engaging. You know what I feel like most of the time, which is why I don't go out and why I don't socialize a lot, is I feel like a clown.
Yeah, I feel that way.
Like, sometimes. I see why you find me entertaining, but like, what? Like, I see why you like being around me, but what are you giving me? Like, you just stand there and stare at me and then laugh or go, oh my God, or like, so then I feel stupid, like I'm being a clown.
Well, then the more inebriated people get, and if you're listening to them, you can get to some strange chapters in their lives.
Yeah. So it's like, because then I get really self-conscious, like, oh, I'm talking too much. But it's like, because you're not, like, I'm interested in people too. Like, I love, for as much as I talk, I love stories. I love stories. I love to hear people talk. So yeah, but that's all I could think about at this boarding house.
It just depends. Like how easily can I get away if I need to is what it feels like.
Yeah, you seem more, you have difficulty like you feel guilty or something or obligated.
Well, a little bit. I mean, it is like you can't like you have to treat people how you want to be treated too.
I will smooth walk off because you can't hold me hostage. Like,
it's not about holding, but if the social impropriety is like I agreed to sit down and eat dinner with a stranger and I have to go through the 3 courses and everything, I hate that feeling.
because you're literally trapped.
Yes, I don't
because
like that.
because I want my creme brulee. So that means I have to sit here through 3 courses that they're bringing out very slowly because they don't want to bring the entree until everyone's done with their appetizer.
Yes.
So,
oh God, and then
and there are 9 of us at this table.
And then I didn't realize that this small person is pecking at their food like a bird.
And then there's always someone who's just like
eat that shit. I want my next bit. But yeah.
Put your utensils on that plate so they know to take it away. And let's go on to the next one because I can't.
Close your GD menu, sir.
Okay. I thought a really cute scene is after Bob and Maggie start like interacting and she wants him to go to church, and clearly he is not a church going gentleman, but he agrees to go because he wants something from her. And they're sitting in the church and we're getting their internal monologues and Maggie is just like, oh, look at him, he's such a devout man. Oh, what a beautiful day, and oh, isn't God good, or whatever the hell she's saying. And then Bob is over there
admiring some other woman.
Oh,
she got a figure on her.
I thought that was really funny. And then we see Bob. And then also he's like lusting after some girl, but then also asking for forgiveness. And then we see Bob falling asleep in church. Okay. We get flashbacks to Maggie taking care of her aunt when she's, on her decline. And there's a scene where Maggie brings her aunt dinner.
Yeah.
And the aunt's being mean, and at one point throws a lamb chop at her head.
She throws that steak at her head.
And Maggie gets mad though, because she's like, okay, well then give me this food back. We're not eating today.
She goes and picks up that steak from the floor and puts it back on the plate.
This is why I couldn't care for kids, because if the kid didn't want what I provided for the meal, I guess we're not eating today.
Yep,
then. Like
you'd be hungry.
And I guess you might not be eating tomorrow because this is going to be your leftovers for tomorrow. Right.
But then that's where Wendy Hiller gets to shine, because she's like,
at one point she's like, how I hate a liar.
Yeah, well, she says it like, I hate a liar.
Oh God, the scene where the two of them come back from their fancy dinner, and Maggie, the landlady, after she confronts Maggie, she confronts Bob. Or no, she confronts Bob first, I think.
She makes
Maggie go make tea. And they're being so loud.
Yes.
Didn't you think several times, like...
she can hear.
Because we'll get to it, but there's also sexual assault in this movie. And it's like, no one heard any of this. But yeah, the boarding house lady is like scolding Bob, her brother, about wasting Maggie's time. Like that poor lady didn't hear any of that. Maggie's drunk acting is very good.
Yes.
Leads me to believe that perhaps she is drawing from
personal experience.
Yes, because her slurring, talking about, because she's drinking sherry, and it doesn't, I've never had sherry, so I don't know. Whenever I think of sherry, I think of cooking sherry.
Which we have some.
But
you can go through self-checkout with cooking sherry, I've learned, so it's fine.
But her slurring, like, just one more, like she's pouring.
Well, she's talking to herself in the mirror. Yes. And then she starts singing because she's in a good mood at that point.
That's right.
Like what is she singing? It's the song that's in the new Joker trailer. It's not What the World Needs Now. It's anyway.
So we already know Bob's a creep after him interacting with some woman with loose morals, and then the way he's treating Maggie. But then we see him in his own bed, and it looks like maybe he was about to masturbate, and he has pornography. And one of the pornographic magazines is called Spick.
SPICK.
Like, what is this?
Not like the racial epithet. But then he hears moaning one night, and he goes upstairs to the maid's room in the attic, Mary.
And his gross nephew is naked, hunching up on this lady.
But she seems to also be enjoying that.
Yeah. So then what does Bob do after this whole Spick magazine scene? He goes up there and sexually assaults this young lady.
He rapes her. Yeah.
And it's happening while Maggie Smith is getting drunk in her room. So we keep flashing back and forth. That was a very upsetting
Yes.
sequence. Maggie takes her drunk ass to church to confess it. And that priest is so annoyed. He's like, ma'am, this booth is for the children.
He's like, this is the time period for children's confession.
Yeah.
And she's having none of that. She needs to get it off her chest.
Oh God. Then after that, that's when she proposes marriage to Bob. And he just looks at her like, what?
She has to go. And then after that, she has to go get a new bottle, which looks like a straight up drug deal. Like she knocks on this closed edifice and this scrappy looking teenager.
Well, she also goes to her friend's house.
Yes,
like her one friend
every Sunday, yeah.
And then she tells the opposite story.
Oh,
she's
yes.
like, oh, I had to, Bob asked me to marry him, and I had to let him down gently. But then she starts crying.
Yeah,
and then I felt like, if it sounds funny the way I'm describing it, it's not. It's pretty upsetting.
It's not, because she just can't keep it together, and people are so mean and rude and cold, and her friend asked her to play the piano, but she's drunk. She's the dumb friend though is also plying her with sherry. It's like, come on now.
She keeps pouring her.
Maybe you should have a sandwich, Judith.
Then she gets back to her place and goes to her room, and then that nasty nephew with the blonde hair like kind of barges into her room and is talking shit about Bob, his uncle.
Well, because he wants Bob gone, because Bob is stomping on his game with the maid.
Right. And then he is kind of being too aggressive with Maggie Smith.
Who's drunk.
And then because, like, as a result, ends up spilling her sherry.
Oh, and the whales.
Oh, you would have thought someone dropped her baby down a well. Like she... And then, of course, the landlady comes in, the boarding house lady, screaming like, look at her.
And then Bob comes in.
And then there's another lady staying in the boarding house.
The teacher.
And she can't stand Maggie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
She's complaining about her drunk singing.
She's like, I actually have to get up and work.
Y'all know I like Zac Efron, but I kept thinking during this movie that in 20 years, Zac Efron's going to look like Bob Hoskins in this movie. Oh. I'm certain of it.
Bob was cute sometimes.
I thought he was,
not when he's playing nasty people, but
but like in this movie, if he weren't smoking, well, because his bottom teeth are all yellow, but if he were like had cleaner living, I could see him, he could buy me a drink.
Cleaner living.
But then Maggie Smith has another friend who's like dying in the hospital. And there's a scene where she goes to visit her and her friend wants a drink.
And thankfully she has vodka.
And Maggie pours her a drink, and the other like people in the hospital,
these other nosy Parkers,
they're looking at her like, how can she do that? How can she just come in here? And
well, they get drunk together and
they're getting drunk together in this hospital bed.
And then these ladies tell on them like, they're drinking over there.
And then what does Maggie's ass do? Take her drunk ass to a church and deface the damn altar.
Accost that priest again.
Well, she accosts the priest, and then she goes, like, she's sitting on one of the pews, and then all of a sudden she's in a rage and like runs up to the altar and is trying to rip it like the that little setup they have, and knocks down all the candles, trying to open Jesus's heart. I don't know. She's like, let me in. Oh. And then of course that results in her ultimately going to rehab, basically. But I felt so like, I think this movie is such a peculiar bird, and really they should be lucky they had Maggie Smith to pull it all together, because there's so many things happening in this story, and the direction of it could have so easily gone off the rails had we not had such a strong central performance. Because really, without Maggie Smith, like it feels like a comedy.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah.
All it would have taken is another actor who couldn't handle the material,
or wanted to lean into
the emotionality of it. And all it would have taken is just a slight tweak, and this would have been pure camp. So I think this film owes a lot to Maggie Smith pulling it all together.
Well, she won a BAFTA.
Yeah, it's pretty well, and it just, for a woman during that time, because it's set the book's set in the 50s, and I think it looks like it's in the 50s too.
Yes. What the notable difference that I've noticed, and again, I'm only partially cracked into this book. The book, I believe, is set in Belfast, and this is set in Dublin.
Oh,
Like they reversed it.
but I did feel like, you know, to be a woman during that time and to have not been married and
What? Yeah. Where's the place for you?
where's the exactly, like where's the place for her? And then literally like her moving into a boarding house, which is kind of like the place people go when they don't have a place.
Yeah.
Is
Cast-offs. Yeah.
yeah, and then her just still seemingly finding some kind of joy, and she seems to have excitement for life in the first half of the movie because she's excited about New York and this man, and it, you know, there are a lot of people out there like that, right?
Well,
like,
you know that we're packaged how life is supposed to be in a certain way.
well, and it made me think in 2024, like there are a lot of people out there who are single who maybe have never been in like a long-term committed, you know, they didn't have the opportunity to like build a life with someone, and then now they're middle age like me, and then, you know, like even though there's more parity and more opportunity and less stigma about being childless or unwed, there's still, you know, like it still feels like there isn't necessarily a place for people who haven't glommed on to.
Well, because it's harder to make connections as you age, like that,
Right.
that are genuine, might I add. But her little speech to Bob Hoskins at the end, after she kind of realizes what he's really up to, I think is very meaningful. Of how, you know, she's speaking for women in general about how they hold out for the one who they want to be tall, dark, and handsome, and then, you know, you start making more and more concessions as the years go by, and to have some loving company.
Which makes me think of Girls Will Be Girls when Coco Peru marries the man who
From Modern
sexually
Family.
assaulted
Yeah.
her 20 years prior because they don't have any better options.
Yes, well, that should never be a reason to
Right.
get hemmed up with anyone. But
what would you give the disappearance of Lorna Doone?
The Lonely Passion of Judith Hearne, I would give four stars to.
I know I got a couple of messages because I posted us watching it on Instagram. I guess this movie's hard to find, but we watched it on the Criterion channel.
Yes, that they do have
like
it
on
there.
demand.
Yeah. It's just there. I mean, you have to have a subscription to the Criterion channel, but they don't have it available as a Criterion disc, but it is on their channel.
I would also give it 4 out of 5. I thought it was excellent, mostly due to Maggie Smith. I think that's all we have. There's a lot happening next week. We're seeing Honora, Conclave, the review for The Outrun. We have to see The Joker.
Oh, God.
Folie à Deux. I'm not looking forward to that.
I've already seen it and I hated it. So
yeah.
Yep, that's happening.
And we have another screening next week too for you just told me about
Amelia Perez.
Yeah, Amelia Perez,
which I did like. I saw that already too. But that actually 3 of those. Honora's great. Amelia Perez is great.
I saw that title and I'm like, Emily in Paris. I don't want to see no damn Emily.
No, I don't want to see that.
Amelia Perez.
I saw some memes like, when does her visa expire? Like, make that bitch come back.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I had finally read Oh Pioneers. I've been holding off for years and years and years from watching that television version made with Jessica Lange in the early 90s from the same director that did Sarah Plain and Tall with Glenn Close, if you're familiar. But my grandma was a big fan of Willa Cather, and I read a couple of her books. I had to read My Antonia for school, but I finally finished that, and I actually thought it was, I really liked it. But there was a line I wanted to share that spake to me.
Well, please indulge us.
There was about Alexander something of the impervious calm of the fatalist, always disconcerting to very young people who cannot feel that the heart lives at all unless it is still at the mercy of storms, unless its strings can scream to the touch of pain.
That was a quality moment.
Anyway, I can't wait to watch. I'm going to watch that this week.
Do it.
I'm going to do it. Yes.
Do it, Norbit. Bye.